Russian propaganda channels have disseminated information about the crash of an Su-25 military aircraft, which is on the balance sheet of the Russian armed forces, the Telegram channel Ukraine 365 reports. At the same time, the author of the Z-channel Fighterbomber, who positions himself as a specialist in military aviation, wrote that the Su-25 crashed but kept silent about its causes. According to him, the pilot was saved and everything is fine. However, on the internet, this specialist was immediately told in response that the loss of the Su-25 is not at all normal, but rather very painful for Russia, since their domestic aircraft industry can no longer produce attack aircraft of this type. Another channel, Aviahub, also wrote about the accident, adding that allegedly there was no fire impact. In turn, the Russian Ministry of Defense did not report anything at all about the incident with the attack aircraft. The secrecy with which the Russians are shrouding the crash of a military plane cannot help but suggest that there is something clearly fishy about this case, and that they are simply trying to hide the truth from the general public. By the way, the crash of the Russian attack aircraft was also commented on by Ukrainian blogger Alexander Kovalenko, known as the Evil Odessit. While everyone is watching the latest episode of the Israel-Iran skirmish, the Russian occupation army is out of Su-25s. The Su-25 is an attack aircraft that Russia is unable to produce, and therefore this loss is irretrievable. At this rate, the Russian Aerospace Forces may at some point be left without classic attack aircraft. He emphasized, the Su-25, often referred to by its NATO reporting name Frogfoot, has been a workhorse for Russian and Soviet forces since the 1980s, designed to provide close air support in heavily defended environments. However, as this incident illustrates, even these heavily armored jets remain vulnerable to Ukraine's layered air defense network, which continues to prove effective against low-flying attack aircraft. The Su-25 is a tough bird, built to soak up damage and keep flying. Unlike fast jets that rely on speed and maneuverability to evade threats, the Frogfoot often finds itself deep in the thick of combat, operating at low altitudes where manpads teams are waiting for the perfect shot. This is where countermeasures come into play. Su-25 pilots deploy flares, intense bursts of heat meant to deceive infrared-guided missiles. Ukraine is launching a coordinated campaign across Russia's military-industrial heartland to cripple the Kremlin's ability to wage high-tech war. With a devastating cyber attack on the Tupolev Design Bureau and precision strikes on microelectronics plants, Ukraine is not just targeting weapons. It is forcing Russia's production capabilities back to the Stone Age, Euromaidan press media outlet says. The Ukrainian Operation Spiderweb inflicted significant losses on Russia, with 25 strategic aircraft confirmed damaged or destroyed. Notably, Russian authorities are already trying to hide the extent of the damage by swapping out destroyed bombers for intact ones taken from airfields not hit by the strikes. To complement the severe blow against the Russian strategic bomber aviation, the Ukrainian military intelligence conducted an extensive cyber attack on the Tupolev Design Bureau, which designs and produces all Russian strategic bombers. Ukrainian intelligence gained access to more than 4 gigabytes of sensitive data. The leaked files include internal correspondence between company executives, personal data of employees, home addresses, biographies of engineers and designers, procurement documents, and classified disclosures from closed-door meetings, Euromaidan Press reports. The breach provides Ukrainians with comprehensive insight into operations and personnel involved in maintaining Russia's strategic aviation fleet. This information could be used for the sabotage of the plant through low-ranking aviation engineers who can be recruited into Ukrainian information networks, with humans always being the weakest link in such large-scale organizations. Additionally, to cement the inability of Russians to rebuild their strategic bomber fleet, the Ukrainians decided to strike factories that produced other high-tech components necessary for the Russian war effort. These factories produce various microchips and technology essential in the production of Russian bombers, tanks, missiles, guidance systems, vision sights, and radars. Euromaidan Press says, the Ukrainians most recently struck the avant-garde microchip and radio electronics factory in St. Petersburg. While Russian media initially claimed that all Ukrainian drones were intercepted, Russian emergency services confirmed a major fire in the section of the plant responsible for microchip production and assembly. Thick black smoke was seen rising from the facility, with the blaze covering around 100 square meters. Before that, Ukrainian drones targeted the Bolkov semiconductor device plant, scoring multiple direct hits on the main building. The explosions triggered extensive fires that spread across the facility, causing significant damage and putting the factory out of commission. Earlier, the Strela microelectronics plant in the town of Suzemka, Bryansk region, was struck. Located just 8 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, it was within range of HIMARS strikes, which caused the most extensive damage of all the targeted Russian military-industrial plants. Satellite imagery later confirmed that nearly the entire facility was destroyed, leaving no operational production capacity. Finally, the Ukrainians hit the Kreml L microelectronics plant in the city of Bryansk, delivering multiple strikes that ignited a large fire throughout the site. This was the 5th attack on the plant since the start of the war, but the latest damage appears to be the most devastating yet. Euromaidan Press says, the Ukrainian strikes had a major impact, targeting key sites in Russia's military-industrial complex.